We are standing at the threshold of a new time. Perhaps you have a calendar on the wall that still smells of fresh paper, or a digital agenda that is currently optimistic, filled with clean white spaces waiting to be populated by better versions of yourself. It is the morning of the year. The coffee is hot in the mug. The air feels crisp with potential. And there is a sincere desire in your chest to make this time different. You look at the year ahead and you see a landscape of victory. You will pray more. You will be kinder. You will finally conquer that one habit that has shadowed you for a decade. But then look closer at the texture of this very morning. Before the coffee has even cooled, the phone buzzes. A notification, meaningless really. A headline about a celebrity or a sale on shoes flashes across the screen. Your hand moves before your mind does. The thumb scrolls. The shoulders, which were relaxed a moment ago, creep up toward your ears. The jaw tightens just a fraction. You had intended to give the first 10 minutes of this day to God, to offer Him the first fruits of your time. But the screen was brighter than the icon of Christ. The urgency of the world was louder than the whisper of the Holy Spirit. And just like that, without a crash, without a tragedy, without a mortal sin that would make you tremble, the foundation has cracked. And here is what most people miss. The sin that destroys a year is rarely a scandal. It is rarely something loud. It is something quiet, almost invisible. Padre Pio saw it in thousands of souls. He saw the same pattern again and again. People did not fall because they loved evil. They fell because they kept delaying good, and that delay has a name. It is presumption disguised as procrastination. It is the spiritual arrogance of believing you own time. There is a specific heaviness that settles in the stomach when we realize we are already behind. It is not the sharp pain of a knife. It is the dull ache of a burden we picked up voluntarily. You look at the clock. The 10 minutes for prayer are gone. I will do it tonight, you say. I will do it when the house is quiet. And in that small, silent sentence, the enemy of your soul plants his flag. We often imagine that a year is destroyed by a catastrophe. We think of a lost job, a sudden illness, or a scandalous fall from grace. We imagine the devil attacking us with fire and sword. But the spirituality of Padre Pio, that great surgeon of souls who spent 50 years reading the human heart in the confessional, suggests something far more terrifyingly simple. A year is not destroyed by a bomb. It is destroyed by a termite. It is eaten away from the inside, hour by hour, by a subtle disorder that looks like normal life. Padre Pio was not shocked by rare sins. He was shocked by common ones, the ones people stopped noticing. In the confessional, he didn't only confront what was immoral, he confronted what was delayed, because he knew that a soul can lose its fire without committing some dramatic crime. It can simply become lukewarm. It is the sensation of rushing while standing still. It is the accumulation of almosts. I almost prayed. I almost forgave. I almost went to confession. It is the morning that turns into noon, the noon that bleeds into evening, and the evening that collapses into a tired sleep, with the soul unfed and the heart unguarded. This is how the year dies, not with a bang, but with a deferral. If you are listening to this, you likely feel this tension. You feel that despite your good intentions, there is a leak in the vessel of your life. You pour grace in, but it drains out before it can change you. This is not an accident. It is a spiritual dynamic. And unless we name it, unless we drag this silent saboteur into the light of Christ, this year will end exactly as the last one did, with a vague sense of regret and a soul that is tired of its own promises. If you want this year to be different, not emotionally but spiritually, subscribe, not for motivation, but for reconstruction. Because here we don't chase feelings, we rebuild habits, we return to the sacraments, and we learn how the saints fought the drift. If you are tired of the cycle of broken promises and wish to walk a path of serious, steady interior reconstruction this year, I invite you to subscribe. We are building a community here that seeks not just to feel spiritual, but to be transformed. What is this sin that Padre Pio warned against? It is not murder, it is not theft, it is not even the sins of the flesh that so often dominate our guilt. The sin that destroys the year is the sin of presumption disguised as procrastination. It is the spiritual arrogance of believing that you own time. Padre Pio lived with a piercing awareness of the value of time. He once said, "Time spent for God is never wasted, but the inverse is the terrifying reality we live in. Time spent ignoring God is a theft." When we say, "I will pray later," we are making a theological claim. We are claiming that we have authority over the future. We are claiming that later is guaranteed to us. But from the perspective of the saints, and certainly in the eyes of Padre Pio, this is a lie. The future belongs entirely to God. To delay a good deed, to delay a prayer, to delay a necessary apology is to gamble with a currency that is not yours to spend. This is the mechanism of the destruction. It works through a subtle hardening of the conscience. The first time you skip your evening examination of conscience because you are too tired, you feel a little pang of guilt. That pang is a mercy. It is the Holy Spirit calling you. But you ignore it. You say, "God understands. I worked hard today." The second time you do it, the pang is quieter. By the 10th time, there is no pang at all. There is only silence. You have not become an atheist. You have simply become numb. The axis of your life has shifted. God is no longer the center around which your day revolves. He has become an accessory, a decoration you visit when you have the energy. We must distinguish clearly here. Feeling tired is not a sin. Suffering from anxiety or depression is not a sin. These are trials of the human condition, and Padre Pio was infinitely tender with those who suffered from them. He did not demand that a sick person pray with the energy of a healthy one. But he knew the difference between inability and unwillingness. He knew the difference between the person who falls because the cross is heavy and the person who sits down because they simply do not want to climb anymore. The sin that destroys the year is the habit of negotiating with God. It is the yes but do of the spiritual life. Yes, Lord, I will follow you, but first let me finish this season of my life. Yes, I will go to confession, but let me wait until I feel more ready. This dynamic creates a layer of insulation around the heart. Grace rains down. God is always pouring out grace. But it hits this roof of procrastination and slides off. The soil of the soul remains dry, not because God is stingy, but because we have covered the ground with our excuses. Padre Pio saw the devil not just as a tempter to evil, but as a master of wasting time. If the enemy can keep you busy with good things, work, family logistics, social obligations, so that you have no time for the best thing, he has won. He does not need to drag you into a black mass. He only needs to keep you scrolling until your eyes are too heavy to read the gospel. He only needs to keep you worried about tomorrow so that you cannot sanctify today. That is why Padre Pio insisted on daily spiritual weapons. He urged his spiritual children to cling to the rosary, not as superstition, but as discipline. Because the rosary returns the mind to God. When the mind wants to scatter, it is repetition that heals distraction. It is a chain that pulls the soul back from drift. This is the trap, and the result is a year that looks successful on the outside. Bills paid, vacations taken, but is structurally unsound on the inside. Let us be honest about the conversation that happens in the privacy of your own mind. It is a dialogue of two voices. One is the voice of your conscience, gentle but persistent. It says, "You are drifting, you are dry, you need to stop and return to the source." The other voice is louder, faster, and more rational. It says, "It's not that serious. You're a good person. You haven't killed anyone. You go to Mass when you can. God knows you're busy. Don't be a fanatic. This second voice is the architect of a wasted year. It uses the weapon of good enough. It convinces you that holiness is for monks and nuns, for people like Padre Pio who lived in monasteries, not for people with mortgages and commutes. It whispers that you can maintain a friendship with God on the weekends, while living as a practical atheist from Monday to Friday. Think of the negotiation you make regarding confession. You know you need to go. There is a weight on your chest, a cloud over your prayer. But then the internal lawyer stands up. It's been too long, the voice says. It will be embarrassing. What will the priest think? And besides, if I go now, I'll just fall again next week. Isn't it better to wait until I've conquered this sin so I can present a better version of myself to God? Do you see the deception? It sounds logical, but it is poison. It suggests that you must heal yourself before you go to the doctor. It suggests that you must be clean before you take a bath. This is the logic of pride disguised as prudence, and here is the twist. Procrastination is not neutral. It is not simply a scheduling problem, it is a spiritual posture. Because every time you delay prayer, you are not only delaying God, you are training your heart to live without Him. And what you train today, you become tomorrow. And while you debate this internally, the weeks turn into months. The small sins accumulate like dust on a mirror until you can no longer see the image of God in yourself. There is also a hidden fear in this delay. If we stop, if we truly silence the noise and look at our lives, we might hear God asking for something we don't want to give. We are afraid that if we stop procrastinating, God will ask us to change something real. A relationship that is toxic but comfortable, a business practice that is profitable but dishonest, a habit of entertainment that numbs us. So we keep moving, we keep the noise up, we use busyness as a shield against the gaze of Christ. This is the acedia the ancient monks spoke of, not just laziness, but a sorrow about spiritual good. It is finding the things of God boring, heavy, or demanding, while finding the things of the world exciting and necessary. It is a sickness of the will. And it is this sickness that Padre Pio fought with such vigor. He knew that a soul in this state is like a person freezing to death in the snow. They feel warm, they feel sleepy, they just want to close their eyes for a moment. But if they sleep, they die. The discomfort of the conscience is the only thing keeping them alive. Imagine for a moment that you are not in your room or your car, but standing in the stone corridor of the monastery at San Giovanni Rotondo, sometime in the 1950s. The air is thick with the scent of incense and the murmur of waiting pilgrims. The line for the confessional is long. There are men with calloused hands, women with worried faces, the rich and the poor huddled together. You are in that line. You are carrying the weight of your delayed year. You are carrying the excuses, the tomorrows, the lukewarm compromises. As you step forward, you see him, the Capuchin friar with the gloves that hide the stigmata. He looks tired, bearing the weight of the world's pain, yet his eyes are burning with a lucidity that is almost unbearable. There are many stories, some perhaps exaggerated by time, but the core truth of Padre Pio's ministry is well documented. He had no patience for the mask, but infinite mercy for the wound. If a penitent knelt down and began to make excuses, "I didn't pray because my wife is difficult," or "I missed Mass because of the traffic," Padre Pio would often be stern. He might say, "Go away and come back when you are ready to be honest." This was not cruelty, it was a desperate attempt to wake the sleeper. He knew that a customized excuse is a barrier that grace cannot penetrate. But imagine you kneel down and you simply drop the defense. You say, "Father, I have been lazy. I have presumed on God's time. I have loved my comfort more than my Creator. I am empty." In the accounts of those who made such confessions, the change in the saint was instantaneous. The stern judge vanished and the weeping father appeared. When the soul admits its poverty, the floodgates of mercy open. Padre Pio would often weep with the penitent. He would take the burden upon himself. He would say, "Courage. The past is God's mercy, the future is God's providence, the present is God's love. This is the turning point for your year. It does not happen in a planner, it happens in the truth. The sin that destroys the year is defeated the moment you stop defending it. The moment you stop saying, 'I will do it later,' and say, 'I am doing it now,' the power of the enemy is broken. The confessional is not a torture chamber. It is the only place in the universe where you can bury the past." Padre Pio taught that once a sin is confessed with a contrite heart, it ceases to exist. It is not just forgiven, it is annihilated in the fire of God's love. Why would you carry the corpse of your failures for another year? Why would you drag the chain of "I should have" through another 12 months? The door is open. The priest is waiting. The blood of Christ is fresh. The only thing required is the courage to walk through the door without an excuse in your hand. How do we prevent the drift from returning? We have confessed, we have repented, but we are creatures of habit. The enthusiasm of the conversion moment will fade. Padre Pio knew this. He did not advise his spiritual children to engage in grand, heroic feats that would burn them out in a week. He advised consistency in the small things. The rosary, he would say, is the weapon. Indeed, but he also taught the value of the little way, of fidelity. Here is a practical application, inspired by the spirit of his direction, to inoculate your year against the disease of delay. It is a micro-ritual, taking no more than 3 minutes, but it must be done with absolute fidelity. Choose a trigger moment in your day. It must be something you do inevitably. Perhaps it is when you put on your shoes in the morning, or when you turn the key in the ignition of your car, or the moment you splash water on your face. Let that physical action be the bell that calls you to attention. In that moment, perform 3 small acts. First, make the sign of the cross, but not the hasty swatting flies gesture we so often make. Make it slowly. Touch your forehead, your chest, your shoulders with the full weight of your attention. By this sign, you are marking yourself as territory claimed by God. You are telling the enemy, "I belong to Christ." Second, speak a sentence of offering. It does not need to be poetic. It needs to be true. "Lord, I offer you this day. Do not let me waste it." Or simply, "Jesus, I trust in you. Help my unbelief." Padre Pio often used short aspirations, ejaculatory prayers, to keep the connection alive. These are arrows of love shot into the heart of God. Third, choose one tiny act of reparation for the day. This is the antidote to the poison of self-indulgence. It could be, "Today, I will not look at my phone for the first hour of work." Or, "Today, I will smile at the person who annoys me." Or, "Today, I will say one Hail Mary for the soul in purgatory who has no one to pray for them." This is not a challenge to fix your life in a day. It is a challenge to anchor your day in reality. If you fail one day, do not fall into the trap of self-pity. Do not say, "I ruined the streak." There are no streaks in the spiritual life, only the present moment. If you miss the morning, do it at noon. If you miss noon, do it at night. The devil loves to turn a mistake into a resignation. Padre Pio would say, "If you fall, do not lay there. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep walking." Keep a record if you must, but not a diary of your feelings, just a small mark on the calendar, a dot that says, "Today I remembered." These dots are the stitches that hold the year together. They prevent the fabric of time from unraveling into chaos. Let us visualize your year as a house. On January 1st, we stand outside this house with buckets of paint. We paint the exterior a bright, hopeful white. We plant flowers in the window boxes. These are our resolutions. I will lose weight. I will save money. I will read more books. The house looks beautiful from the street. Neighbors pass by and admire our discipline. We feel proud of this new structure. But inside the walls, deep in the plumbing where no one can see, there is a small leak. It is just a drip, 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 drip. It is the drip of spiritual procrastination. It is the prayer skipped, the charity denied, the silence avoided. At first, nothing happens. The paint on the outside is still fresh. January passes and the house looks fine. February comes, and maybe there is a faint smell of dampness in the hallway, but we mask it with the perfume of busyness. We buy new furniture to distract ourselves. We work harder at our jobs to prove our worth, but the water is relentless. It soaks into the drywall. It rots the wooden beams that hold up the floor. Mold begins to grow in the dark spaces behind the wardrobe, the mold of resentment, of anxiety, of a strange, inexplicable sadness that we cannot shake. By October, the paint on the outside is peeling, not because of the weather, but because the wood underneath is rotting. Suddenly, a crisis hits. A storm comes. And because the internal structure is compromised, the wall collapses. We stand in the wreckage and ask, how did this happen? I tried so hard. I had such good intentions. We blame the storm. We blame the devil. We blame God. But the collapse did not happen in October. The collapse happened in January and February and March, in the moments we chose to ignore the leak. Padre Pio is the master plumber of the soul. He is not interested in the paint on the outside. He walks into the house, ignores the new furniture, and puts his ear to the wall. He hears the drip, and he hands you the sledgehammer of truth. We must open this wall, he says. It will be messy. It will be dusty. It will ruin your perfect arrangement. But if we do not fix the pipe, the house will fall. The sin that destroys the year is the refusal to open the wall. It is the preference for a painted exterior over a solid interior. Real holiness, the kind that Padre Pio lived, is structural. It is built on the hidden beams of humility and obedience. It is not glamorous. Fixing a leak is not as satisfying as painting a facade. No one applauds you for unclogging a drain, but that is where the house is saved. Do not be afraid of the mess of reconstruction. God is a builder. He can work with ruins better than he can work with facades. Give him the hammer. Let him break the drywall of your pride. Let him stop the leak of your time. We have spoken many words, but words alone cannot change the heart. Only grace can do that, and grace speaks loudest in silence. I'm going to ask you now to do something difficult. I want you to stop the noise. In a moment, the music will fade, and there will be a space of silence. I want you to use this space not to think about God, but to stand before him. In this silence, ask yourself one question. What is the one thing I have been delaying? Not 10 things, just one. Is it a confession? Is it forgiving a parent? Is it ending a sinful relationship? Is it simply sitting in silence for 10 minutes a day? Don't analyze it. Let the Holy Spirit bring it to the surface. You know what it is, that heavy thing in your heart. That is not an obstacle to your life. It is the way. That is the door. Do not let this video end and simply click on the next one. That is the cycle of the drift. Break the cycle. Make 2 concrete decisions right now before your pulse returns to its normal rhythm. First, decide on a small act of reparation to do today. Not tomorrow, today. Second, look at your calendar and mark the day you will go to confession or attend Mass with a new, attentive heart. Make the appointment with the King. The year is not lost, it is not destroyed. It is being redeemed right now in this decision, in this breath. The leak can be stopped, the house can stand. Padre Pio often ended his letters with a blessing of courage. He knew the battle was hard, but he knew the general was victorious. If you are ready to stop the drift, I ask you to comment just one word below. the name of the virtue you need most this year. And if you want, add one simple sentence after that word: I will begin again today. Not for me, for your own soul. Because the first brick of a rebuilt year is always the same: honesty, courage, patience, fidelity. Let that word be your first stone of reconstruction. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He shine His face upon you. And may you begin today to live not by the clock of the world, but by the heartbeat of God.